Welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm Dolly Velasquez, and with me this morning is Tom Jones. We're going to be talking about homelessness in our city. And Tom, thank you so much for joining us at Joy in Our Town. This is a topic that many of us may have our heads in the sand. So let's address the issue of homelessness in our city. Who are the homeless?
You know, Oklahoma City has a pretty substantial population of homeless individuals. And many times people perceive that the ones they see standing around on the street corners, maybe with signs and such, are the homeless. And I'm not saying they're all not homeless, but the majority of them aren't. But that doesn't negate the fact that we have an issue, a need in our community. And we have probably 1,200 to 1,500 homeless individuals. The unique moment of our community is that 85% of the men that are at our homeless shelter right now, this is the first time in their life that they've ever been homeless. This isn't a group of people who have just quit years ago and are just wandering around hoping that somebody will give them a free food or something. But these are a lot of them young men that have just faced tremendous challenges right now with the economy the way it is in our community. And they have found themselves coming to a homeless shelter.
85%.
85%.
So, because when you think of homeless, I do picture the person. I don't mean to malign anybody, but you do picture the person that maybe is unkept and holds a sign, which you know the situation because you have served as the president and CEO at City Rescue Mission. For how long have you been serving in that capacity?
I'm starting my 10th year as the president and CEO, but then as a pastor, I volunteered there every week for 9 years prior to that. So I've been engulfed in the culture of homelessness and have literally had the privilege of watching the transformation of the people that are coming in the doors. When I first started there 19 years ago, most of them were middle-aged men that just had faced challenges, maybe got addicted to substances, be it alcohol or drugs or whatever the case might be, and just couldn't figure out how to get out of it. But we are seeing a tremendous increase in the number of young women with small children that have been left by their husbands and they have nowhere to go. And young men that were working in the oil and gas industry, for example, and were living off of the wages that they had received from that industry, and now they don't have a job and they've lost everything and just don't know where to go, don't know what to do.
So not only are you seeing the men, but now you're seeing the women and children as well. When a person finds himself in this situation, what's running through their head? Are they thinking, I'm a loser, there's no hope? Not only does City Rescue Mission and the other ministries that are in our city minister to their needs, but how do you minister to them in order to be able to get out of that situation?
I think that the most powerful message we can give to them, it's not a meal. There's a lot of places that they can get a meal. It's not clothing. There's a lot of places that they can get clothing. And it's not even really shelter. That's the doorway that they come into seeking those specific life-threatening needs that they have.
Immediate needs that have to be met.
And we provide those, and a multitude of other agencies do too. But what we see as our number one objective is to get them to believe in themselves again. When you face challenges and you have been beat down by losing a job, a divorce, something of that nature, the enemy loves to come toward us and say that we're worthless. And so when we begin to let them see that though this roadblock, this speed bump in their life has occurred, that they as a human being, God created them in His likeness, and they as a human being have the potential to not only conquer this roadblock, but to use it to catapult them into the fullness of what God has for them. And when they begin, you can see the sparkle take place in their eye when they begin to catch that and they're going, wait, this isn't the end?
That's awesome.
This is an opportunity that God can do something in their life. And because they handled this properly, they're equipped and anointed now to move forward. Then all of a sudden they begin to rise up and they begin to seek God on a level that they never even realized was important in the past.
They're thriving in the desert.
They're thriving in the desert, and they know who to give credit to, and that's God, because prior to them turning to Him, they were lost, hopeless, had no idea of what was going to happen in their future.
What's so wonderful about living in Oklahoma City to me is that we have wonderful organizations like City Rescue Mission and others in our city that offer the practical need, but know the true solution to restore people's lives. I love what you do. This will catapult me to a new level. That is going to be so victorious.
And they can't comprehend what we're even talking about. And that's the way God does. He doesn't give us the full plan. He just gives us a spark of new hope. And when that happens, when I say the sparkle in their eye, I seriously mean a transformation of their countenance, that they all of a sudden begin to dream again like they did as a child. And that journey starts right where they are, but it is engaging in the fact that though they draw off of past experience, education, whatever the case might be, that longing, that void in their gut for something bigger than themselves, and then God comes and fills that, then they just literally leap into a place of hope and pursuit of their destiny, and it's pretty cool.
What's amazing to me, sometimes as young people, we don't have the life experiences to be able to see that this is temporary.
Right.
I need to tell you, my husband, you know, we've pastored for many years, and we pastored in a community in Taos, New Mexico, back in the 80s. And he used to fish on Mondays. It was his day off. And I counted on that fish. We had 2 small children. I counted on that fish to be able to provide meat for my children. You know, he tells that story to our congregation, and we laugh. But that's very, very true. But we were centered in the fact that we were in God's will, that we were beyond happy. We had nothing. I recognized when a newspaper article came out that we were living below poverty level. And yet we were happy. We were in the center of God's will. It didn't matter that I counted on that fish. And I learned how they cooked there. They ate a lot of beans. I made my own flour tortillas and potatoes. They fried potatoes. And then I had that fish that my husband would catch. But having those life experiences, now I know it's temporary. Paul says, I know how to abase, I know how to abound. How do you teach? How do you transform young lives to let them know this is not a forever situation?
Well, I think that part of the challenge is that they've been taught their whole life watching television and watching people in the community that just consistently gain things. And so as a child, they're dreaming that when I get old enough, I'll be able to obtain things. I don't think that poverty has a dollar figure on it. I think poverty is a mindset. And so we try to help them understand that peace and joy needs to be right in the middle of where they are. And in this moment, they have nothing. And I said, but no one can steal your joy and peace.
That is so powerful.
Unless they give it away to them. So we say, in this moment, build yourself up. The Bible says the joy of the Lord is your strength. So if you come into an intimacy with Christ while this season of your life is already
in the desert,
then watch what God does, because it's not going to matter anymore whether you live in the finest house or drive the finest car. You're not necessarily in control whether that happens based off of your education and job abilities out there in the community, but your peace and your joy can be there, and your children can sense it. And that the whole idea of poverty, I mean, you were happy and your husband was going fishing on Monday to make sure your children had meat. The beauty of it is your happiness wasn't centered around what you had. It's centered around the fact that you were rejoicing in the little things that were taking place in your life.
It's got to be really difficult for these young men and these families to even possibly humiliating to say, I have a need and I need to go to a place to bring my children and live in assistance. How do you overcome that and turn that into victory in the lives of these people, of these precious people?
Well, I think what happens when they come in the door, they have that mindset. They're embarrassed, they're humiliated, they feel worthless. That's what the enemy has beat them over the head with. And we tell them, welcome to the family. You're a part of this family. The expectation of you is that you're going to treat this place like you would your home. We don't hire staff to come in and clean. We don't hire staff to come mow the grass. I tell them, when I get off work, I have to go home and mow my grass. I'm not going to mow your grass. And sometimes people say, well, that's just harsh. That's mean. I said, no, that's the accountability that begins calling them back into attention that they're capable, that they're able, and they need to do it with excellence. Because if you can do your chore at home and do it with excellence, you're going to be much more apt to do it once you get on a job someplace. I told them, I said, I know you want to come here and me give you everything. And we don't charge anything, but we do this together. We're going to walk this moment in the desert together. But you're going to take responsibility for you, and together we're going to have a beautiful place where you're living. You're going to fix the meals. I don't cook their meals. They cook the meals. That's a part of the work therapy, and together.
You said therapy.
It is therapy. It's not cheap labor. It's therapy for them, because if they can fix a meal and everybody's enjoying it, then that's going to cause them to step up and provide for their families.
And they want to be able to mow the grass. I would imagine I want to take ownership, and you're helping me. If I'm not getting a handout, I'm involved in helping my family. That's awesome. Now, if somebody's sitting at home and they're watching this and they say, man, I want to help. I see those people with the signs, and more than, not everybody, but you said not everybody's homeless when they're holding those signs. They need to, how can they find out more information to be able to help?
Well, as I said earlier, Oklahoma City has a tremendous network of different organizations, churches, ministries, agencies that work hand in glove to make sure that the needs are met, but they're not double dipping in the sense that they're getting the same help from 5 different agencies, because that diminishes the resources and doesn't cause it to flow as broad as it needs to. But they can certainly contact City Rescue, then go on our website or any of the other agencies.
As you said, you volunteered for 9 years. So it sounds like that if I feel really bad, go, and I want to be able to minister, I'm praying for them, and I want to do something tangible, that there is a possibility of being able to do that. Absolutely, absolutely. And City Rescue, we have thousands of volunteers every year, but many agencies, the food bank, for example, they have volunteers, and I'm not going to not promote them, because together we need them all to make it happen. City Rescue really focuses on the heart as the ultimate objective. It begins with the heart, the victory, doesn't it, to be able to thrive. Thank you for joining us and during our time. We'll be right back with more.